Hello everyone, this is Dr. El-Hawary. Today I'm going to give you the practical revision for the final exam for trimester 2. Now what you see right in front of you, this is an example of how the questions will come or the step-by-step of creating a specific design. Also within the final exam you'll find a revision folder. This folder, this is similar to the final exam as well, where all the images of the background will be displayed over here. And you're going to find the other materials which are supposed to be part of the design. Now in here, I'm just going to move toward this design step by step and find out how to create a final design. Now if you scroll a little bit down, you will find here, this is an example. And as says here, please do not copy this example. So this is just an example showing you what kind of design I'm looking forward to get within the final exam. Okay, so let's start using the Photoshop. In this case, I'll follow the revision step by step. Step number 1, I asked you to create a document size 215 centimeter by 280 centimeter height. And it should be portrait at this case, and it's 200 pixels. This is the resolution for the image itself. So I'm going to Photoshop and then File, New, and I'm going to start creating my document over here. So I'm going back again here to the step by step. So it's 215. So I'm going to go here to 215 and make sure this is created by centimeter. 215. And it says on the other side here, it says 280. So I'm just going to create here 280. Here we go. Now, following the steps, says 200 pixels. This is resolution. And this is how you should name your design. So I'm just going to go over here to 200, which is the resolution of it. And then he asked me to create my name as my name and then my grade and then which class is and trimester 2 practical. So all I can do here is just copy this and paste it, or I could type it in easy way. So control copy to copy, control C, and then control V to paste. But I'm just going to change your name here to my name. Perfect. And then it says grade 9. I'm just going to keep A or B or C, which class I am. So let's say grade 9A, trimester 2, practical exam. And then the resolution is 200. Now, let's see if anything else is asked over here. Nothing. So I'm just going to click here on create. All right. So in this case, in the second step, it asked me to add a background of my choice using the background folder and remove the smart objects. Very important to remove the smart object before we start editing any of the images. So in this case, what I'll do is I'm going to my folder where it says again the revision, and I'll find the background, and I could pick any of those backgrounds, depends on my choice. So I'm going to pick one of those, whatever is suitable for me. So let's say, for example, I'm using page number 5. Great. So before I start getting the image within my design, I'm just going to resize it by one of those vertex points. Here we go. And there we go. Make sure it fill your page because again, this is a background. Once I'm happy about this, I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. So as you see right at the bottom here, I'm still having a smart object. To get rid of the smart object, all I have to do is go into my eraser and then one click, I'm going to have a message that appears to me. I'm just going to click OK. So the smart object now is gone. Now I'm going to move to the next point at this case. Next point here says, again, add a background of your choice. Okay, we rigged on this, so we remove the smart objects. Now add 1 to 3 players from your choice and change the size of each. So at this point here, I'm going to go to my folder again. And there is a folder that says here players. So I'm going to pick whatever player is suitable for me. So it says 1 to 3. So I'm just going to pick some of them. So let's say, for example, I'm using that person over here. So this is number 1. And every time I'm resizing it, and then make sure you're removing the smart object. So eraser, smart object, click OK. So I need to remove again the background of them. Now I'm going to use another one over here. So let's say, for example, I'm gonna use this one over here. Again, I'm going to resize it a little bit. I'm gonna resize it again even more in the future. So this is second one. Okay. So he asked me from 1 to 3. So 2 is enough. This is the middle point. So I'm quite happy about this. So I'm just gonna remove the smart objects tool. So I've removed 2 smart objects of each. Now it asked me to remove the backgrounds of each of those players. Great. How to do this? Simply what I need to do is go into my one of two. So either you're gonna go to your eraser, magic eraser. First of all, I'm going to select my layer, which is this one at the moment. And then using the tolerance just to get more of the area to be removed, I'm just gonna give one hit. So the background now should be removed. I'm just removing bit by bit. There we go. You see, if happens to you, does he have to remove a lot of areas within your design, you can click Control Z to get backward again or undo. And then tolerance here, you can put this even more higher. So if I go to 30, right here in the top, all you have to do is just one click. Look at this. It remove most even bigger area of the background. Here we go. So once I'm done with the process of the magic eraser, I'm gonna do the second one here, but I'm gonna use a magic wand instead. So to use the magic wand, you're gonna go to again the fourth tool over here and choose the magic wand. All you have to do is one click, and then it will select the specific color that you needed to remove from the image. So you see here, I'm not selecting the correct layer. So I'm gonna select the correct layer, and then I'll click once. Once it's selected, all I have to do is hitting backspace on my keyboard. Now I'm having here 2 designs or 2 players without any backgrounds. To remove again the selection, you need to go to any of the selection tools and just click once outside. Now, as you see here, I'm having 2 images or 2 players without any background. So next step number 5, it asked me to create an ellipse shape on a new layer and insert the player inside the shape. So I'm going to insert this player inside the shape at this case. So to do so, first of all, I'm going to create a new layer. This is right at the bottom of my layers. You're going to find the plus layer. Just click on it. Now I'm creating a new layer. Now I'm going to my ellipse shape. Usually you're going to find it's a rectangular, but to change it to ellipse, click for a couple of seconds and then choose the second tool and then release your hands off the mouse. Now I'm just going to click and drag until I get the ellipse properly I want. So I need this size kind of. Great. Now I'm just going to move the ellipse right in the middle. To change the thickness of the stroke or the fill of the ellipse itself, all I have to do is click on the ellipse back again. And this is the fill, so I can change whatever color I would like to get for my ellipse. In my case, I'm going to use a white. And then the stroke itself as well, you can change the color of the stroke. Let's say, for example, I'm using red because the theme is black and white and red. And the thickness of the line itself, I could control it using the stroke word. So I'm going to click on the stroke and just move toward my right. And as you see here, it's getting thicker and thicker. Or I can get the thickness less by just drag it toward the left. So it's just going to keep it just right in between. Great. Now I need to add this player inside my ellipse. To do so, all I have to do is I'm going to have this layer of this player twice. But I'm just going to move it right in the top. So I'll drag the layer right in the top. Just drag right in the top. So now my player just right on the top of my ellipse. Now I need my layer to be inside the ellipse at some point and outside the ellipse in the other point. To do so, all I have to do is I'm going to hide my player at the moment, the layer of my player right in the front. And then I will zoom in using Control and Plus. Zoom in a little bit more. Here we go. Perfect. And then I'm going to click on the ellipse. And then I might use something like a magnetic lasso tool just to go over those points. As you see here, I'm moving bit by bit. toward my ellipse. If this has happened to you, some mistakes happen, it's fine. You can get backward again and just keep moving. Now, I will stick to certain points over here where I'm going to use my mouse just to click, 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 click until I start where I end up where I start with. So I'm going to end up where I'm going to find the circle next to my magnetic lasso tool. Now I'm selecting those points here, and as you see here, there's a little bit of mistakes I've done here. So all I have to do is go into Magic Wand and use the quick selection tool just to add this little point over here. Now it takes a bit of time. Now if takes too long time from you, it's fine. You can keep it as it is, and we're gonna find another way to do so. So now I'm gonna go back again to my move tool, get my player to appear again, select my layer, and just hit backwards or back key on my keyboard. Now, as you see here, my player is a part of the circle now. Perfect. Now, for the rest, for this part here, which don't quite like this part here, I just need to remove it and I just make it proper ellipse. To do so, all I have to do is using selection tool first, just select outside, and then I could use something like a normal eraser. Choose the size of the eraser. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Here we go. And then nicely, I'm going to start moving the missing part. Now Control 0 new keyboard. Now my layer inside the shape as I've been asked to. Now I'm going to make it more fun by adding the bottom layer right in the top. So my player just is right in the top of my ellipse. And as you see here, I'm not quite happy about this white part, so I could use again the eraser just to remove those parts, the white bit where the image is. So I'm just gonna get my eraser to be a little bit bigger, in my case, and then I was just gonna start moving bit by bit of those white. I know this is taking a little bit of time, but remember you're gonna get enough time within your exam, so don't worry about the time. Here we go. Perfect. So I'm sticking to this. This is quite happy. I'm quite happy with this. So the white part is just moved, or actually I could be a little bit more clever in the future and use a magic, instead of magic eraser, I could use something like a magnetic lasso tool to cut my player. Take a little bit more time, but again, it will be cut very neat and clean. So you see here, I'm just removing as well the background, the shadow of the player. Here we go. I'm quite happy about this. Now, to make the design sticking out even more, I could actually go to the background and then change the opacity. Opacity, that means how clear the background is. And I could use something again like the fill, make it a little bit even more or less visible. I'm doing this because if I'm having any text to be written, I could have this right within my design. Now I'm using my eraser again, just removing some white bit that's appearing within my player here, just to make it looks neat. You can actually zoom in anytime just to remove some of those white parts using the size of the eraser just to make it small enough so I can remove those. Now usually if you're gonna get sort of those images in the exam, some images you're gonna find them without a background, so just to make your life a little bit easier within the exam. But I'm just doing this just to show you how simple and easy I can remove the white bits, even though I could do it in a more professional way. I'm glad I'm having those kind of white bits within my images, so we can cover more of those tools within Photoshop. There we go. Perfect. So I'm quite happy about this. So far, I know there's a little bit of white, but again, it kind of is not visible. So if I go Control 0 on my keyboard, Now let's move to the next step here. Next step says use the type tool to write Wilson. The font type, the main type of the font is Arial Black. The color of it is black or white. This depends on your choice or your design. Size is 500 point. To do so, all I have to do is click on the type tool and then click once. Now I'm going to write here Wilson. You can actually write it capital letter or small letter, depends. I'm just going to keep it capital letter here. Now highlight all of it and then change it to black by double click on the color and just change it to black. And by default, I believe this is in black. And then I'm going to the drop down over here. I could write Arial. And then you're definitely going to find many Arials. So I'm just going to use Arial Black. Here we go. Now it tells me again, this is a 500. So I'm going to use 500 point instead. So this is how Wilson look like. Now, it doesn't say where you need to add the Wilson word itself, so I'm just going to keep it right below my circle in this case here, just to make it looks more professional in a professional way. Now, the next point here, he asked me here to add the school logo using the logo folder. Now, my point here, the logo folder is within the background. So we don't have a logo folder, but within the exam, you will find definitely a logo folder. And I say this is supposed to be on top of the design. I remove the white background if there's any. Now, on mine here, I don't believe I'm having a background. So if I go over here, you'll find in the revision background, there's logo 1, logo 2, whatever is desirable for you, you can use. I can use it here. So I'm just going to select it, add it to my design, maximize a little bit. And actually, I could add this at the top of my design. Now, remember, it told me do not use or do not copy the design. So I could try to use this as a title of the magazine, for example. Here we go. And my point here, that might look decent for me. Or I can actually minimize it and add it to my top right corner. Here we go. As long as I'm not copying the design that is given by the exam, I'm in the safe side. Now I'm going to move on to the next step here. It says adds a white frame to the whole image with no fill inside it. All right, clear enough. So I'm just going to go here to the rectangle. And then from the beginning or from the start of the corner, top corner, just going to move all the way down to the bottom corner. Now you might guess how to remove the fill. All you have to do, go into the fill itself, and you're going to find right in the top no color. So I'm just going to click on it. And then the stroke, it asked me for a white stroke. That's fine. So I'm just going to go to white and then maximize a little bit the stroke. Now, if it gives me already a specific stroke, then I would work with it. If it doesn't, that's fine. So as you see here, if I'm zooming in a little bit, let me just Control plus to zoom in. Over here, there is a white, again, frame around my design. So I'm just sticking to the step by step as it tells me. And regards my logo, I'm just going to push it a little bit inside. And I want to minimize it a little bit down, so it does not disappear under the frame. All right, moving on. So next here says apply some of the text below to your design. So it says some, so that means I don't have to apply everything. So I'm just going to use some of those, and it did not give me a specific fonts to write. So that's fine. So I might actually use the type tool. And in this case, I'm just going to click and drag. So in my point here, this is where my text would be applied. So Control V, and it did not give me a specific font type. So all I have to do is just double click on the whole text. Here we go. And then I'm going to minimize a little bit the font so I can see the whole text right in front of me. Okay, so I could use a different text. I'm going to stick to normal Arial. Now, as you see here, text is aligned right in the middle. I can align this right to the left or right to the right. Depends on what you want. I might use a red instead of black color. Here we go. I'm going to stick to something kind of close to my design. And then I might maximize a little bit the frame or minimize it. Depends how I want it. And I might add this here under the title. Now let me move to another text again. Copy and paste. So I'm going to copy this, copy, and I might add this somewhere around. So I'm just going to create it right in here or in there, up to me, or it could be right here with a different font style. So I'll add this over here. Control V, select all of it. And then I might use this to be a bold, getting the size to be a little bit smaller. As you see here, since the exam did not give me a specific place to keep my text, so I'm just keeping it somewhere around. I might change this to a kind of grayish, dark grayish, if I wish to. Now I'll move on to the next point. So in here, I'm going to use another one and I will stop right there. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. And actually, I might go somewhere around here. Here we go, Control V. See, I'm just going to minimize this a little bit that way. And again, I might change this to something different. So I might use a proper lighter gray. Here we go. Actually, I might use this over here, or this one is right. All right. So it doesn't matter where you're going to keep your text as long as your text, again, looks tight and neat. At this point, it looks decent to me. I'm quite happy about this. I used 3 of them, so I'm on the safe side. I'll move on. That's it. So this is the end. So this is completely different than my design. So this is the design that is given in the exam, and this is my design. So I'm quite happy about this. Now, how to save it? All you have to do is go into File. Now, Save. And this properly would be saved to the area where your teacher asks you to save it. The mic area here, I'm going to use it. And as you see here, it displays my name as I've written right at the beginning of this tutorial. All I have to do is click on Save. Okay. And I'm having my design saved with all the different layers. Hopefully that went well. Thank you for your attention and your time. Please do not hesitate to speak to me or email me at any time if anything that stops you. Thank you and have a lovely day. Goodbye.